Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Vino Shipper Holiday Marketing Playbook. Today, we are joined by Michelle Ewart of ME Creative, as well as Adrienne Harrison from Vino Shipper. So today, Michelle is going to give us a nice presentation about kind of what you can expect and what you should be looking towards for your end of the year marketing kind of calendar. During this recording, we have a chat at the bottom. So if you're looking at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there is a chat button. You can enter any questions that you have in there. What we will do though is we'll wait towards the end and then we will go through the chat and go through all of the questions at the end. Um, so yeah, this should be very exciting and very informative for everyone. So thank you for joining us. And Michelle, you can start whenever you're ready.
Sure. Well, thank you, first of all, Vino Shipper, and thank you everyone for joining this presentation. I really appreciate your time and happy to answer any questions at the end. Just to start a little bit about me, I have a digital marketing agency in Napa. However, I work with wineries all over. I have worked with wineries in Southern California, Texas, as well as a couple of organizations in not necessarily wineries, but other CPG and ag-related products in Hawaii as well. So holidays, exciting time of year, and I feel like a lot of people underestimate just how much can be done to the lead up of the holidays. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. The way I've kind of structured this deck, which I hope you will find not only useful, but interesting as well, is to kind of walk through some of the different marketing initiatives that wineries yourself are able to implement with the lead up to the holidays. And I've included a checklist at the end too, which is linked to the presentation that you're welcome to download. And that should be a kind of a very quick summary and overview of everything that we're talking today that you're able to print off and use for yourselves as kind of a checklist from basically where we are now at the beginning or end of August, beginning of September, all the way through to New Year's Eve. All right, so I am going to share my screen here. Okay. Vino Shipper, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. I am trying to scroll through the slides and it got stuck on the first one. There we go. Okay, so why the holidays matter. In a nutshell, this is your biggest sales time, sales opportunity of the entire year. And again, it's not just kind of the month of December. It starts now. It actually starts before, depending on what initiatives you want to partake in and invest in. But yeah, really, I mean, if there's one thing that I can give to you from this presentation is just prepare, and be strategic. A lot of these initiatives do require extra resources and extra time to put together, but the payoff is definitely worth it. 30% of annual DTC sales happen in Q4. You have a lot more competition because everyone is trying to get their slice of the pie as well. And that's why preparation is so important. Holiday wine buyers are usually gift givers, collectors as well, but as we know, it's a big gifting time of the year, whether it be for Christmas or whether it be hostess gifting as well. So that's something that I'm going to really kind of drum in throughout this presentation here. We have a short window. As you all know, there are shipping cutoffs and deadlines, and a lot of you are probably doing fall wine club right now, which will then kind of slide right into Thanksgiving sales, and then of course the December holiday sales as well. And then, like I mentioned, competitive. It is a very, very competitive time of year. So just taking a bit of a step back and looking at all the opportunities that you have from a marketing perspective and your resources that you have to be able to put together some really engaging sales and marketing tactics to make sure you are standing out from the sea of everyone else that's trying to sell at this very crucial time of year. So today's roadmap, we're going to talk about digital marketing. We're going to talk about traditional marketing. So when I say traditional marketing, typically that means kind of print, local opportunities, anything in person. Holiday campaign strategies. This one is going to be particularly important. We're going to talk about kind of bundles, promotions, gifting. Then I've included a few case studies and examples from some of the initiatives that I have provided my clients in past years. The checklist that I mentioned earlier, and then like Melissa mentioned, there'll be a Q&A at the end where you're welcome to ask myself or anyone from VinoShipper any sort of questions that we might be able to help with. Okay, so starting with digital marketing. So digital marketing, just to kind of share a little backstory, I think a lot of us really saw the importance of digital marketing compared to traditional marketing when the pandemic hit. Everyone was kind of forced to look at what tools they had at their disposal or what tools that they could implement to still keep their sales up. And since we weren't seeing people in person or being able to host parties in many parts of the country as well. So the good thing about this is that a lot of people have had now realized the importance of digital marketing and just how much power social media, email marketing, text message marketing, and optimization of websites, partnering with influencers, so on and so forth, can really have. And for the most part, compared to traditional marketing, it is a much lower cost. So I'm going to talk about email marketing. This is probably the #1 holiday driver of sales during this time. And there's a lot of things that you can do to optimize your email marketing. So the first one being your mailing list. So I'm sure that a lot of you, if not all of you, have some sort of a mailing list. And it's simple things like segmenting your mailing list so you're not bombarding everyone with the same message multiple times during this really key sales period is very, very important. If you've got a sale going on for like a holiday gifting bundle, you want to look at, okay, what wines am I going to put in that holiday gifting bundle? Let's say we call it the holiday sparkler or something. You want to look at your list and see who has bought this wine recently. You don't want to necessarily bombard them with too many sales again. Or maybe you can segment out that list, send a separate email and say, hey, we see that you hope you enjoyed your whatever it may be, Blanc de Blanc from Sonoma County. And we think that you might like to take advantage of our holiday sparkler bundle, which includes the wine that you just enjoyed. So simple messaging like that. One, the benefit of that by segmenting your markets is you're not bombarding all of your mailing list with the same offers, many of which might not be relevant. And the other thing too is you're able to create more of a personal connection with your mailing list. And if there's one thing that people love is the feeling they get when they get something a little bit personal. Oh, yeah, you realize that I only drink red wine. And so you definitely don't want to hit those people with white wine related emails. So segmenting, and I'm happy to kind of go deeper into that if there's any questions about that later. But that is very, very, very important. The second one, campaign ideas. So, kind of hitting people over the head with sales messaging just to get a discount or just to offer them a discount in hopes that there's going to be more sales. Everyone's doing the same thing. So thinking a little bit outside the box as to what sort of campaign ideas that you can do and implement within your email marketing program. So maybe it's a gift guide. People love visual things. So putting something together either on your website that can then be linked through your email, or if we're going to talk traditional marketing, you can, that kind of thing, you can, there's many different touch points where you can link various campaign ideas in. Always include shipping deadline reminders. People really respond to sense of urgency, last chance. And then your subject line examples are very important. Statistics show that there is a significant lower open rate if that subject line does not catch the recipient immediately. And in this very fast-paced world that we live in, where we absorb so much information in just a second, whether it be through what comes through in your inbox or on social media when you're scrolling, first impressions do matter. And your opportunity to get your customer's first impression is from that subject line. So you want to remind them, that, hey, do you still need a holiday gift? Because let's be real, I mean, everyone is always shopping for that one hard to shop for person at the last second, or 3 days left for delivery by Christmas. So again, that sense of urgency. Okay, going on to social media. Again, we as consumers also consume a lot of content on a daily basis. So finding a way how you can stand out again from everyone else that is selling during this key period. Storytelling. So I'm going to touch on number one, and kind of reference the pandemic again. The number one type of content that was engaged with most on social media during the pandemic was coined edutainment. So a mix between obviously entertainment, which there's a lot of that on social media, and also education. And we found as marketers that kind of finding a hybrid between those two, and putting out content on your social media that is entertaining, because that's why a lot of people are on social media. It is educational, so they're actually taking something away from it, and telling a story. Again, that is something that's going to set you apart, because that's your story. So whether you are including posts related to the winery dog, or whether you have a message from the owners during Thanksgiving showing their gratitude, whatever it may be, find what makes you unique. You don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing, and then find a way to tell that story. You want to showcase gifting, hosting, and entertaining. So again, that kind of ties a little bit into storytelling. Really showing like what a table would look like being set, or hey, you're going over to your friend's house for Thanksgiving who is making ham instead of turkey. So what could be, what bottle could you purchase as a consumer to take to your host's house as a gift? Engage influencers, and engage influencers early. I have a case study later in this document of an influencer that I partner with a lot for a lot of my winery brands. And she starts the holiday concept development time with her winery clients in August already. And again, influencers get bombarded with wineries trying to secure collaborations with them during the holidays. So if you have identified one or two or more influencers that you feel like could really help tell your story during the holidays, you want to get on their calendar early, because they're very much inundated with wine and winery work during OND. Reels and videos. So again, content, and people really like those bite-sized nuggets of content where they could take something away. They could laugh, they could learn something, learn about the winery dog. So really kind of focusing your content efforts. While static is good and it has its place too, reels, Instagram reels and videos really help to convey so much more information in within a couple of seconds even than a static image. Pairings, I kind of touched on this earlier. We all love to eat, drink, and be merry during the holidays. So we really want to kind of showcase food as much as possible during the holiday period as well. That gets the idea in the consumer's head that, oh, they need this Pinot to go with this duck, or they need this cab to go with this prime rib. So again, kind of putting those ideas in consumers' head, and then they look to you as kind of the subject matter expert. That's a really great way to get their attention. And then, of course, paid ads. Social media has become a pay-to-play platform, and you could invest as much as you want into beautiful photography and engaging with influencers and having a very strategic plan set for your social media content. However, the more money that you're able to invest during this time, and really, something I hear a lot from a lot of my clients is, oh, we put a little money, we put $200 behind our advertising, our social media advertising during O&D, and it didn't get us any results. There's a lot of strategy involved in the back end there, is to, again, kind of like your email list, what I mentioned earlier, segmenting your lists and making sure that the ads that you're putting out there are really reaching the people that you want them to see it. Making sure that, for example, if you are a winery based in Texas and you're doing a sip and shop at your winery, you don't want to be putting money behind a paid ad that's going to reach California. You want to hyper geo-target to like a hyper local audience. However, that being said, paid advertising does go a very, very long way. All right, so website. There are some very simple little things that you can do on your website that go a long way. The most simple thing that I recommend, and hopefully an easy lift for most of you, is to be able to make it front, center, loud and clear that you are offering holiday, whatever your holiday promotion is, whether it's a discount, whether it's a shipping special, whether it's bundles, gift boxes, that kind of a thing. The pop-up, if any of you have got a pop-up that comes up on your website when someone first lands on it, that is a great place after they've checked through the 21 and up brand, is having either an additional pop-up or having a banner on the top of your website. Make it a different color so it really stands out, especially when you've got people that are visiting your website regularly. If you make something red instead of gray, that's going to catch their attention immediately. So we want a clear holiday gift section with an easy to find and shop. You want to make it as easy as possible for people to purchase your product and not have them click through and try and find it. Bundle visibility on the homepage. So again, whatever you have on your homepage, add your bundles there, or at least add strong, bold messaging that they just need to click one time and get transferred straight to the gift box page. A gift message option at checkout. So ordering, or having that ordering process where people can, again, make it as easy as possible, add something to cart if they're gifting it to someone, so the wine is getting shipped elsewhere. Adding a gift message option as part of your checkout process, that goes a long way too. And then, of course, highlighting shipping deadlines. So I know I kind of sound like a broken record when I mention that, but just people need to be reminded the holidays are a crazy time for most people. And the more you can remind them about deadlines, the better. I put in an example of Rara Wine Company. Thank you, Melissa and the team at Vino Shipper. But I really like the not only the aesthetic of this winery's website, but they have made it very, very easy for people to see the bundles and packages that they offer here. This is something that is, they've already got their holiday wine and salsa gift box, but they do have this website year round, and then they just tweak it for the holidays as needed. All right, traditional marketing touch points. So as much as a lot of people will tell you that traditional marketing is in the dinosaur age, it still works and it should not be overlooked. Again, traditional marketing tends to be more expensive because oftentimes you're paying for ad placements or you are investing a lot of money in print material. So being strategic about, what works for you. Some of the suggestions that I've added here is is postcards timed with deadlines, holiday deadlines. That could be for your wine club members. That could be, for a local audience. Again, kind of thinking about what you did on email and your segments and who targeted, which groups you targeted. You could kind of use the same idea and messaging for your postcards as well. Just making sure, especially with, paying for the cost of postage and printing and everything, that the advertise or your promotion that you're sending out is relevant to the recipient. Flyers and signage in the tasting room. I can't tell you how quick and easy this is to implement. For anyone that's got a tasting room, more often than not, wineries do have a table tent or a menu on the table. Just adding a little insert in there. You could get some cute little paper clips, like Christmas paper clips, and then just print it in your office, print it at home, cut it up, make sure it fits within, and then add a little colorful paper clip inside of your menu. That goes a long way too for anyone that's coming, sitting down. The first thing they do, open the menu because they want to know what sort of wines you offer or experiences or snacks or whatever it may be, and having that front and center, kind of the same way that restaurants have an insert for daily specials. Same kind of idea. Collaborations with local shops. I have seen huge success in this. So a lot of times, especially if you live in an area which is very heavily agricultural and there's a lot of support among small businesses, identifying a business that is on brand for you, and working with them to provide bundles. And so a lot of that can be cross-promoted too. I'm going to give you an example of something. I was helping a winery during the holidays, a Sonoma-based wine company, and we partnered with a local Sonoma-based goat cheese company and put together a pairing bundle. So we had a couple of wines that would pair well with a couple of their different cheeses, and we wrapped it all up nicely with crinkle and a bow, and that became kind of like a gifting set one year. And although the winery did not have a lot of social media followers, the cheese company did. They posted about it, and just automatically we got a lot of additional followers and reach as a result of that. And then, of course, we all want sales. So having my client's wine on their website and having their cheese on the wine website and doing cross promotions that way and sharing mailing lists and sharing audiences, boom, increased exposure to a whole set of new eyeballs that you may not have been able to reach initially. And then, of course, local magazine ads and inserts. That's a no-brainer. You just need to jump on that early too, because I know a lot of the publications now are seeking samples, submissions right now to talk about. All right, holiday campaign strategies. So we talked about the examples I put in here are not all necessarily holiday related, but same kind of a deal. So one of the first things which I mentioned earlier was themed bundles. Again, people like to kind of get in the holiday spirit, and anything you can do to add a little holiday flair to it goes a long way. Some examples: fireside reds, holiday sparkle, and dinner party essentials. Again, you're telling people that this bundle of wines is for the holiday dinner table. So putting that idea in their heads goes a long way. Packaging, showing up with a bottle of wine to gift to someone is always welcome. But add a little crinkle or add a nice box or even a little handwritten note to go into the box. That goes a long way and automatically kind of like bumps up the appeal to purchase. And then cross-selling food pairings. So again, for those wineries that either have a local partner that they want to do a collaboration with, or if you are a winery with a tasting room that also sells merchandise, whether it be consumable or swag, bundle. It's a really good opportunity to one, clear out some older inventory, but two, also offer something at a reduced rate, or maybe a nice packaging or something that people will be more inclined to purchase during the holidays. Corporate gifting. All right, so this is by far the first thing that you want to jump on if you haven't already and you're thinking about corporate gifting. Usually most wineries and companies will start thinking about this in July, just because it is always a bit of a lift. And again, there's a lot of bigger companies looking at lots of wineries to see what they can offer. So you want to be ahead of the game and make sure you're buttoned up and ready to present when that inquiry comes through. So bulk order incentives, discounts or penny shipping or complimentary shipping for large orders is always a good way to kind of stand out. Personal notes and cards. And of course, Vino Shipper support to help simplify fulfillment and logistics. I am going to pass the mic shortly here to Vino Shipper, and they can chat a little bit more about that in regards to corporate gifting. So take it away.
Thank you. So in Vino Shipper, we do have the ability to help you do group and corporate gift batch import orders. So it's a pretty simple process. The buyer is set up as a customer in your account. So you will put the person purchasing as a customer with their credit card information, and they'll receive one receipt. So they don't receive 50 or 60 receipts, which is nice. The recipients each receive their shipment, their notifications of the shipments, and etc. And then the only thing that we ask is you do have a person, like a contact person from the buyer, in case there's, redirects or any delivery issues. We need somebody available for quick responses. But you just set up the client, and then we have a form that you complete. We will put that in the chat, and then we can also show you where to find it if you need to on our knowledge base. But there's a form. It essentially has just a bunch of columns, the buyer's email address, the recipient's email address for their tracking information, and then what products will be sent in the order. And then you can send the completed form to customer service at Vino Shipper, and we will import the orders. And then you pack and ship the orders as you would normally. Or if you have a fulfillment center, they will do that as well. So we will absolutely share the document. Yep, Adrian went ahead and did that. So in the chat is the document to see kind of the step-by-step instructions to do that. So we definitely recommend it. It's a very easy way to get that done for you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Of course.
Okay, and just to kind of, reiterate shipping deadlines, that increases sense of urgency. Deadlines do sell wine. And so you do want to give people that opportunity of, giving them a few days ahead. So I recommend kind of doing and again, thinking about your audience, thinking about all the different platforms where you have an opportunity to speak to your audience, and just being strategic about it. So we might want to send out email list. If you get the most ROI on your email list, you want to think about, okay, well, maybe we'll give these people 3 days, 3 days left. Social media, maybe a lot of people are quicker to respond. You push out the last call on social media, but giving people a little bit of time, and just kind of reminding them that, hey, we can't, this is your last chance, or, tomorrow's the last day, does go a very long way. And again, storytelling. So again, the storytelling, I touched on this earlier, it builds emotional connections. And this is, discounts are great, and value adds are great. But outside of that, and again, everyone's kind of doing the same thing during the holiday period. So what makes you you, and what makes your story unique? If you produce a wine that's of an obscure wine varietal, for example, how can you tell that story? A lot of consumers might not know what an Albarino is, and so what can you do to tell that story around that particular varietal and why you chose it? Or if you're a Napa based winery, when everyone in Napa is selling cab, what makes your cab unique? Was it, was there some sort of family history reason why you chose to produce a Napa cab from a specific vineyard site in Spring Mountain? Or maybe it is grandma's favorite wine, or maybe there's some sort of sentimental reason behind it. I strongly encourage that you take a little time to really figure out what your story is, figure out what makes you unique, and then really pepper that in as you can. I currently manage social media for a winery, a very high-end winery on Hell Mountain, in Napa Valley, and we speak very, very much to the organic farming practices and the quality of the wine, and the winemaking process, and of course the wines. But the biggest spike in engagement and reach that we had was when I did an interview on the enologist, which very often, the people behind the scenes aren't really brought to the spotlight. Usually it's the winemaker or the owner, and that is great because they are people that your customers probably know or have heard of. But bringing forth some of your employees that might not necessarily be in the limelight, and let them tell their story and educate your club members as to what they do. I guarantee you that a lot of people probably don't even know what an enologist is and what they do at a winery. That was one of our highest performing social media posts to date. So that was great, and that employee felt empowered and valued, and shared it with all of his friends, which of course further increased reach, impressions, and engagement. So showing those little moments of hospitality and how that can relate to purchases and bringing home the perfect hostess gift. I kind of touched on family traditions. So this was a social media campaign I did for Charles Krug Winery one year. It's a family owned and operated, family operated winery. And so the three children, very much a daily part of the winery operations. So I did kind of Q&As for each of them. They chose their favorite wine paired with their favorite holiday meal. And we did a little carousel that we used on both social media and email marketing for that. And then another campaign could be, positioning bottles as a way to say thank you. And again, putting that bottle in this particular photo was a photo shoot that I did in Sonoma, where and again, I think this was done in September. We set the whole table in a holiday theme and placed some of the bottles around. As you can see, there's some hands and action in the background, really setting that stage and setting that scene where you want people to just feel like, oh, I want to insert myself there. I want to be clinking glasses with someone. and then positioning those bottles as a way to show gratitude and give thanks. 12 days of wine countdown. This is always a fun one, and it's not giving away wine for 12 days. I'm gonna just chat quickly about a promotion I did for a wine brand. It is a large nationally distributed brand with no tasting room. They invested pretty heavily in merchandise. It was small merchandise. It was like a pair of socks or a little pair of plastic sunglasses. We did 12 days of wine starting on December 1st, and every single day we pushed out, with the day before, we pushed out both an email and social media messaging that there are 12 days of gifting where people just had to like us on social media, tag a friend, and then like the post. And so every day we gave away, maybe 2 pairs of socks or 3 pairs of sunglasses or whatever it might be, with the grand prize being something much larger, which was tickets to Bottle Rock. But something little nuggets like that. Again, it's entertainment, and people love a freebie. Obviously, we can't give away free wine, but anything else that can really be a reflection of your brand, because a lot of people then you keep your brand on top of people's radars through doing little incentives like this. Virtual tastings. I think we're all pretty familiar with this concept after COVID. But we talked about gift boxes already, but you probably, everyone here has got a lot of customers that live all over the country. You're not going to be able to host them in your tasting room. So offer them something of value. Offer a virtual tasting. It could be something as simple as you're sitting down and you are pairing a few different wines with a couple of little holiday festive bites. And then you might want to follow up with an email that's got the recipes of what you had in there and why it pairs so well with whatever wines you were showcasing. And then another one is early bird offers for November buyers or even October buyers, if you're feeling inspired. So incentivize those early shoppers. Chances are they'll be repeat shoppers. The sooner you can get the wine in their hands, they might drink it for Thanksgiving. Again, then you can retarget them to stock up for the holidays. All right, going into case studies. So this was an email campaign that I put together for Jam Cellars. They've been a client of mine now for about 6 years. So I help them with all various points of digital marketing where as needed. This was the fall release email from last year. So again, we did some A/B testing on email subject lines, and I could talk all day long about email marketing. So if anyone has questions about email marketing specifically afterwards, I'm happy to help. But we sent about 7,000 emails out to our club members. Half of them opened, and 1,000 of them, which again, out of 7,000 doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have 1,000 out of 7,000 that are clicking all the way through, and this is not just like, hey, click through to customize your shipments. This was clicking through to further promote sales or to engage with a piece of content on the website. So everyone received the full club regardless. 1,000 out of those 7,000 we got additional results from through this email campaign. So that was quite successful. Okay, influencers. This was the influencer that I was talking about earlier. Her name is Raquel. She's based in Sonoma County, and her Instagram is Watch Me Sip. Again, influences that I could go on and on for days. I think we've all kind of come across those emails that, those influences that have their own brand and enjoy drinking wine and showcasing wine. And then you've got influencers that really add value to your brands. So doing a bit of a deep dive into which influences align with your branding and your messaging. And it doesn't always necessarily even have to be a wine-focused influencer. I always encourage my clients to kind of look outside of the box. Now, Raquel is very wine-focused, but let's say you're a winery that, one of your key marketing and content pillars is sustainability and regenerative farming and really focusing on sustainability. You might find that you are better aligned with an influencer that's more farming focused, or someone that is really focused on organics and more of a wellness approach to their social media. So the options are endless, literally. So just to kind of like backtrack, Raquel she has an ongoing relationship with Copan Wines that is based out in the Russian River Valley in Sonoma. And to date, so she's been working with them for about 2.5 years. So to date, her affiliate partnerships have helped to generate over $10,000 worth of sales in Copan for Copan Wines. What she does quite frequently when she partners with wineries is have them develop a unique code. So that way, when she posts about them on her social media, she adds that code to her posts and her Instagram stories. So when people then visit Copan Wine's website, they just need to put in their code, they get their 10% off or whatever it may be. So the customer's getting a discount. Yay. The winery is getting a sale. Yay. And Raquel is doing a great job as an influencer and connecting consumers with wineries. So at the end of the day, everyone wins. But again, influencer marketing, I really strongly recommend quizzing your influencers. Ask for media kits. You want to make sure that their audience aligns with your audience as well. And making sure that for example, a lot of influencers have TikTok accounts, and most wineries don't need TikTok accounts. I'm not sure that the traditional wine industry is quite ready for TikTok yet. There are brands on there, which is great, but wineries, I think in general, it's still kind of uncharted territory. So just making sure what platforms your influencer is on, ask for their media kit, make sure that that their audience aligns with your prospective audience, and just take a look at their content and make sure that whatever they're putting out there on, even though it's their own social media, it is a reflection, if you engage in a partnership with them, on you as a winery too. So making sure that everything there checks out. I've added a few more case studies from this same influencer that were very successful partnerships. I'm not going to go through each. These are all linked, so you can, once the deck is shared, you can kind of go through it. I could keep talking, and I'm just looking at the time. I realize we only have a few minutes or 15 minutes left. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about kind of that checklist, what you can implement now, what you can implement in September, October, November, December. All of this is kind of fleshed out right now, but I have linked a checklist, which I mentioned earlier, which just an easy 2-pager that you can print off and check those boxes. All right, so as soon as possible, meaning yesterday, you want to think about what you're doing for the holidays, whether it's bundles, whether it's a holiday party, whether it's a collaboration with an influencer, if it's a partnership with another local producer. Get that solidified. Once that's solidified, get your photography done as soon as possible. I am a photographer and I do a lot of shoots this time of year. It's kind of a mix between harvest and holiday bundles and everything. I guess my point is photographers are very busy now and like through October. And so you want to make sure that you get on their radar or get on their schedule ahead of time. get your gifting stuff shot. And then that way too, you have a little bit of time to work with it as to what content streams you want to put it in and which placements. And then again, pitching corporate gifting and bulk orders if you haven't already delved into that. October. So this is kind of the first wave of holiday gift guide messaging. So again, those kind of going back to those early bird holiday gift offers with penny shipping or special bundles. Everyone starts thinking about the holidays, I feel like, as soon as fall hits. So you want to think about if you want to do anything on site at your winery or tasting facility to promote the winery experience for holiday parties or private events. So this could be something that you offer the general public. You could be offering, you know, a subsection of your mailing list or wine club members. Or, you know, I know of wineries that even rent out their space to companies that want to host their holiday Christmas party there. Then you want to think about your content and editorial calendar. So if you have a blog or a recipe section on your website or your social media series, you want to start thinking about, you know, what pairings and how all the different touch points that we can link back to the blog and coming up with your email schedule that links back out to your website too. And then finalizing your Black Friday and Cyber Monday campaigns, designing your ads, drafting your emails. I know I'm talking to a lot of smaller wineries. For the bigger ones, you know, there is multiple layers of approvals when it comes to all of this holiday messaging. So the earlier you can get started and get it drafted, the better. November, this is the big push month. So, you know, if you have it in you to develop a Thanksgiving focused campaign, amazing. You know, that could involve pairings, recipes. Again, thinking about the big push is, you know, really looking at your email schedule and making sure that you're getting on everyone's, that you're getting in everyone's inbox during this time. Send corporate gifting reminders with last call for bulk orders. And then, of course, week 4 being Black Friday and Cyber Monday. If Small Business Saturday is relevant to you, then to invest in that too and think about what you're going to be doing both in person and digitally. And again, highlight urgency. So whether you have limited allocations, shipping deadlines, you know, paid advertising, email marketing, this is your chance to really capitalize on the first wave of holiday sales. And then December, we want to, of course, switch gears and start pushing messaging, again, focusing on deadlines and countdowns, sharing gift bundle content for curated wine sets, gift cards, virtual tastings, whatever it might be. Holiday entertaining. So again, thinking about from a creative standpoint, what sort of suggestions, guides, blogs, posts you can put together, and spotlight staff and behind the scenes of like holiday traditions and wines. Bring in that personality. Don't, you know, again, to find out what makes you you and really focus on that. Week 3, you kind of want to shift to local focus campaigns at this point. You know, if you're with a winery that is closed during that time, then good for you. Good for you. If you are a winery that is open during the holidays, then you might want to switch your messaging to be really focused at that point. Deadlines are already done, out of the way. So you can switch your messaging to picking up at the winery, or if you have the option of adding a virtual gift card on your website, that is fantastic because there is always those people that, you know, down to the wire with holiday gifting. That's quick, easy, and doesn't involve any shipping. You could even promote experiences as tours. So if you offer a unique vineyard walk tour or an ATV tour, whatever it might be, you know, you could promote the sale of that for, again, those last minute gift givers. And then week 4, obviously Christmas is done, and then we want to pivot to ringing in the new year with sparkling or celebratory wines. And of course, any opportunity you can take to say, to give your thanks for your customers is always good and goes a long way. All right, wrapping things up. So key takeaways, we talked about holidays obviously being a huge opportunity to make money. Bundles and gifting drive sales. Email and urgency is critical in storytelling to make your wines memorable and set you apart from everyone else. So next steps. Like I said, I have linked this checklist here, which I'm going to just switch over. Adrienne and Melissa, are you able to see my screen with the checklist?
Yes.
Okay, great. So kind of everything that we covered in the last 10 minutes, I've just put together in this quick checklist right here. So if it's of interest, you can, again, it's linked, you can just print it off and check through it rather than having to go through my 29 slides that I put together. I've linked my contact information there as well. So if anyone has any questions about anything that I discussed or didn't touch on, please feel free to reach out to me either via email or social media. And if anyone has any questions about services or photography as well, I'm happy to engage in conversation there and would love to hear a little bit more about your business. And then finally, Vino Shipper, thank you for having me and everyone else for having me. And if you're still here listening to me, then a big thank you. And then, yeah, I've linked my phone number here on the back too.
This has been really, really great, Michelle. Incredibly helpful. So many wonderful ideas. We haven't had a ton of questions, which just proves how great you are. And you really covered so many things. Everyone's saying thank you so much in the chat. Um, the deck will be available. We will send it in an email and we will also have a link to that checklist. I did have a couple quick questions. What is EMV dollars on the influencer stats page? So on your influencer stats page, you had EMV dollars. What does that mean?
Yeah. So total dollars to date.
Okay. That
Mhm.
she has
Generated.
generated for the winery. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me scroll through here and just make sure we didn't miss anything. Lots of thank yous.
There is one that says, how does one really get into corporate gifting? Who and where do you market that to?
Yeah, so that's a great question. HR managers, primarily HR managers and CEOs or owners of companies. Generally, what I would do is if you're part of a local chamber or part of any sort of a local group, that would be the best place to start. Because then you have a wealth of email contacts at your fingertips right there.
Yeah. And also within your own customer database, if you're aware of, that a customer has a certain, maybe they have their own business or, they're part of a big organization, utilizing your notes and your customer profile to keep notes like that. So, next year when you get to this point, if you can go ahead and look at who, might be within your list already, somebody to reach out to for corporate gifting. And also another big person is like real estate agents. That's another really great person to reach out to as well. They always have a lot of gifts that they give during the holidays.
One more thing I'm going to add on to that too is social media. So with Meta and Facebook, you can get extremely granular with who you are pushing your messaging out to through paid ads. So the privacy settings have definitely tightened when it comes to religion and politics. I know that's not what we're talking about, but as far as targeting like CEOs and CFOs and business owners and that sort of thing. You can put together an audience group on the back end of Facebook, which when you push out your advertising on social, reaches those people that match the that profile group as well, which again, I found social media advertising, once you really get granular as best you can, is highly successful.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have a ton of other questions. People are excited. They're excited to get your checklist. So this is going to be really great. I hope you all have a very successful holiday season. We're definitely always available at customer service. And then again, Michelle shared her contact information. So, you could reach out to her and get some more, even better ideas that work specifically for your business. All right, I think I'll wait one more minute and then we'll wrap it up just in case anyone has a last second question. We had a lot of people participate, which was very exciting. All right.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your thank you messages. I'm just reading each and every one of them, and I really appreciate you taking the time to drop that in there.
Yeah, very, very nice. All righty. Well, thank you all. Michelle's contact in the chat. No, it is not in the chat. Do you want to put it in the chat, Michelle?
Yeah, I'm popping it in right now.
There we go. Yes. Yeah, so now her contact info is in the chat for you guys. I'll wait a second so anybody can copy that before we end this. And awesome. Love that so many people joined us today. It was really great.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
All
I will say
righty.
too, I'm a nervous speaker. I know I'm just speaking to my computer, but thank you all also for putting up with my jitters.
You did great. You did
Thank
great.
you.
All right,
All right.
everyone. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, Michelle. And yeah, thank you all again.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.